time of endless noise and fleeting attention, when trust is scarce and authenticity is on life support, one studio dares to rise from the static. This is the One-to-One Podcast, where legends aren't born, they're interviewed.
Hello and welcome to the very first of the One-to-One Podcast. Today we are very privileged to have with us Nicky Barr from Flawless Figures Bookkeeping. Hello, Nicky.
Hi, Shad. Thanks for having me. Honoured to be your first guest.
Yeah, well, great to have you here. Hopefully this is the first of many one-to-one podcasts. This podcast is based on the Gains profile. Is it called Gains profile?
Gains profile, yeah.
That's right, of BNI. We're not actually sponsored by BNI or paid by BNI or anything like that. But, Nicky, we want to know all about Flawless Figures today, and we want to know a bit about your background. So let's get to know you first.
Okay.
What are your interests? Hobbies? How do you spend your time?
Okay. Well, when I can find the time, I love boxing. I've got,
Whoa.
yes, I go to the gym when I can. I used to compete and in martial arts. I've done martial arts for years, but boxing is what I love to do now when I can find the time between work and family and kids and running them around to all their sports. And I love being with family and friends as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And so married, kids?
Yes, so married with 4 kids. We're a very blended family. So 2 of my kids and 2 stepkids, which we've made the best out of that situation, and we've got a beautiful blended family, and very.
What
very
about
lucky.
any strange kind of interests you're into? Do you collect? I don't know. Stuffed animals or
No collections, but I do interestingly have a student pilot's license. Right. So I have flown a Piper Warrior aircraft solo, and I've got about 30 hours logged up in a Piper Warrior aircraft, which is a little bit different that not many people know about me.
Amazing. So you can fly, you can knock people out, you've got children.
Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. Now tell me about Flawless Figures. Yeah. How did that all start?
I've been bookkeeping for over 30 years as an employee for many different companies, just doing their bookkeeping. Yep. And then I decided to go out on my own, start a business, and that was in 2016. I had to go out and get my BAS agent license, jump through a few hoops, and then start the business from there. So I started off just me, and then now I've got a team of 9, including me. And so it's been a bit of a journey over the last few years, sort of going through COVID and just all the ebbs and flows of the economy, I suppose.
Yeah.
So,
and do you have an actual library or?
Pardon?
Do you have an actual library?
A practice, an office.
Sorry, I did warn you I had some bad jokes coming. Bookkeeping, library.
Got you.
I'm sorry. What is bookkeeping? I mean, when should a business actually start thinking about getting a bookkeeper? Yeah,
great question. So really at the very start, when you're looking at starting a business, it's a great time to start thinking about. So essentially you would have a chat to your accountant about your structure and all those sorts of things. But if you're wanting to really hit the ground running, there's a lot of things that need to come into play in terms of what apps you're going to use. Bookkeeping is more than just running your payroll and lodging BAS. It's about what software you're going to use to be able to do that. And then what third-party apps and things you can use to complement your business. So tradies might have, sort of a job management system and how that feeds into your accounting program. And there's millions of different apps that you can use on the market that really are geared to each individual business. So getting someone to get that you can get that advice from early on is really key, because it's very difficult to sort of start implementing those things once you're running and once you're really busy. And of course, you've got to keep the tax man happy. So he wants to make sure that you're meeting your obligations. So I think getting in early, because sometimes we do have to do a lot of clean-up jobs where people have left it too late until the ATO are knocking on their doors. Yeah. And then it becomes a bit of a mission to get it cleaned up.
A bit of a mission or a gigantic mission?
It can be a gigantic mission. You know, we had someone call a couple of weeks ago, and they hadn't lodged anything at all since they started, and they've been in business for about 5 years, and the ATO were not just knocking on their door, they were banging the door down, so they were having to go to court. So it was a big clean-up job, rewarding one, because, you know, we ticked all the boxes and just managed to really alleviate that stress for the business owners.
Yeah, amazing, and I really can attest to what you say about starting with the finances early, because and my business consultant, shout out to Thomas Meyer, he's amazing, by the way. But my business consultant has really opened my eyes to the importance of starting finances first.
Yeah.
And he talks about wearing all the different hats in business. And I started as a videographer, as a wedding photographer. I did no networking. I didn't look at the finances, all of this sort of stuff. I wore every other creative related kind of hat. Not that you can't be creative with finances. But I left finances till last. And now I've realized I've actually done the whole thing backwards, and I'm having this whole learning curve at the end of my business, but it just has informed what I do so much, actually understanding the numbers and what's happening, how much I need to make, and, you know, how I need to record all of these details. And then I've actually realized, well, actually there's quite a big workload here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think really knowing your numbers is really important. We get so many businesses coming to us and saying, we don't want to have to worry about this. You just meet the ATO obligations. We don't want to know about it. But I really try and educate our clients into, how do you read the reports? What do they mean to you? What do they mean to your business? Because there's one thing just keeping the ATO happy, but then there's another thing to understand the numbers and really what they mean for your business and how you can improve the business, and just having that base knowledge. And I think so many people are so scared about their figures, or they just think it's above them, but it's really not. You know, if you just have someone who's got the patience to sort of show you the basics and the fundamentals of what you need to know, I think you'll end up going a lot further in business than someone who just doesn't want to know about it and just wants to kind of meet their obligations and as a bare minimum and focus on what they're doing.
And you mentioned you've grown the team. How have you? What have you done in your business to get to a place where you've seen this growth?
Yeah, definitely been BNI. So when I started, I got involved in BNI fairly early on in starting the business, and it was, you know, one of the questions that we asked new members coming in, have you got the capacity to grow? And at the time I really did think I had the capacity to grow, but it exploded way quicker than I expected it to, thanks to BNI. And so I ended up leaving BNI for a while, so that I could just kind of consolidate the business, get some staff in. I just felt like I wasn't able to keep up the quality with the amount of work coming through.
Right.
So I left BNI for a little while, got the staff in, sort of got better systems in place, really worked out what I wanted my client to be.
Yeah.
And then I was able to kind of, when it was evident that I wasn't really growing much when I wasn't in BNI, so it was a no-brainer when it was time to grow again, was to come back in and look for a chapter that would have me join back in. So yeah, I've been back for just over a year and a half, I think now, and again the business has just exploded. So I'm really, it's the challenge for me is to, I think I've always been a little bit behind the eight ball when everything gets hectic and I'm overwhelmed and the staff are overwhelmed. I go, oh my gosh, I need another staff member. But I think for me now, what I'm learning is I really need to put the staff member in place now. And I think I need to have a little bit more faith in the system, faith in BNI, faith in myself that I will grow.
Yep.
Get the staff member in, get them trained. I mean, they're all qualified bookkeepers, they know what they're doing, but get them trained in our systems with our clients, and then they, you know, if I'm a little bit more in front of it, I won't sort of get that overwhelm that I sometimes get with building the business. But.
Yeah. Now, speaking of BNI, it's not really a case of, just join BNI and magic will happen for you.
No.
There is some effort that you need to obviously put in to get those kind of results. So
yes.
What is it that's in your personality and character that enabled you to really get the most out of BNI and be able to grow so fast in your business?
Yeah, I think because I know the value of BNI, like it's because it's grown my business so well. I think it's very easy for me to invite people in to join BNI. I love people. I love communicating with people. I would do that all day long. If I could just have my business of just going to BNI meetings, doing one-to-ones, I would do that because I love that side of the business. I love that more than the bookkeeping side.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you think of a bookkeeper, you kind of think of someone who's going to, well, I might, and this might be warped, but someone who's kind of sitting in a dark corner on their own, kind of crunching numbers and doing all that sort of stuff. But I don't know, is that the perfect mix to be a real people person that really loves and cares for people, but also has that side of the brain that just...
Yeah, I think so. I think bookkeepers and accountants are not known for their winning personalities. So so to have someone with a bit of personality helps. But yeah, I think so. And I think it just helps me connect a little bit more with the clients. And I know how, having, I have had a couple of businesses in the past as well, not bookkeeping businesses, but other businesses. And I've worn those lots of hats, the marketing hat, the sales hat, the accounts hat, the administration hat. So I can sort of speak to them on a level where I've been through that. I know the stress of running a business. So to really help them kind of alleviate that stress and pressure, and because it can be really overwhelming, and particularly when you've got someone talking in, terminology that you don't understand, just being able to sit down over a cup of tea and just say, everything's going to be okay, and, we've got you.
Yeah, that's a big relief for a lot of people. And having that level of empathy for customers, I'd imagine, in this space, because with finances, obviously things can get quite, people's anxiety can get quite high with finances for obvious reasons.
Yes.
And having that level of empathy, I'm guessing, would be quite valuable to your clients.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I think just being able to set their mind at ease. One of the things that we offer is unlimited support. So people can just pick up the phone and call, email as many times as they want, and they're not going to get charged for every phone call and every email. And I think that's really comforting to a lot of our clients.
Yeah, amazing. And so what would you say are your key points of difference at Flawless Figures?
Yeah, I think probably our fixed fee billing model. Most bookkeepers still charge by the hour, whereas we charge fixed fee billing model. So they just get a flat fee each month, regardless if it's a month where we might be lodging BAS or what have you. It's always, they know what they're paying, they can budget on it. And as well, like I said, they've got the unlimited support, so they can call us. They're not, typically when they're calling and their bookkeeper or an accountant asking questions, they are thinking about the dollar signs ticking over, how much is this phone call going to cost me?
Yeah.
And they never know how much they're going to get billed from one month to the next. And it's not very transparent, I suppose, in the billing what they're actually getting charged for. So for cash flow reasons and, I think that fixed fee billing model, again, just really sets people's minds at ease. The other thing that we really do that's a little bit different is we really try and focus on streamlining and automating processes for our clients. So our goal is to make our clients' jobs easier. So whatever it is that we need to do that. And we do that a number of ways by looking at third-party apps that I mentioned earlier. What can we bring in aside from their software? We're a Xero-only practice, so we don't actually look after any mobile QuickBooks clients, and that's because we can't automate those as well as we can with Xero. And the Xero app marketplace has hundreds of thousands and thousands of different apps. So we're not across them all, but we can certainly give people a little bit of direction on, I think this will work really well for your business, and bring those in, and they really help us to streamline and automate, which also keeps our clients' bills down as well. So they're not paying, old school bookkeepers will charge by the hour, and they've been left behind a little bit because they're not sort of keeping up to date with technology. So
Awesome. And what are some of the nicest things your clients have said about Flawless Figures?
Look, I've actually had clients that started as clients and are now really good friends that I would just catch up with. And I think that's a testament to sort of the service that we provide. And that's how I feel about all of the clients that I've got. I would call them all friends. But we've got some really nice reviews on Facebook. But one of our things that our main motto is that we alleviate the stress for small to medium-sized business owners so that they can focus on what they do best. And that's the most common comment that I get, that we just really do take that pressure off and alleviate the stress.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so let's talk a little bit about BNI. What would you suggest that a BNI member does in order to get the most out of BNI? You mentioned being a people person. That helped. So
Yes.
what else is there? What little tricks do you have up your sleeve that helps win awards at, say, the annual awards breakfast? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you cleaned up, so you must have some insights, or do you want to keep it to yourself?
Yeah, no, it's a top secret. I think one of the things I do really well at BNI is inviting. So I love inviting people along, and that again is because I've done so well out of BNI. BNI has been really good for me, so it naturally is easy for me to invite people. I invite my clients. If you want to do business better, come along to a BNI. Be my guest at a BNI.
Yeah.
But then it got to the stage where I just started randomly texting people off Google. Hey, we need a photographer. Got the whole spiel, come along. So, and we've actually attracted a lot of people.
Right. I think you actually emailed me or something.
Maybe text you.
You did,
Yes.
And I said, I'm already in BNI.
Yes, I accidentally do that sometimes too, because you don't know when you're searching on Google
Yeah.
who's
wow.
already in a BNI. So I have, excuse me, I have, accidentally messaged people who are already in BNIs before saying, hey, come along. But so I've sponsored about 20 people into BNI, soon to be 21. But that's just because I love it and I know how good it is for my business. So,
and you're getting in early too. You're building a relationship early with them. So if you're the one that introduces them, you've already formed that trust bond, I guess.
Yes.
And then because you obviously when we're in BNI, we need to form that close bond with someone and understand what their business is about and all of that sort of stuff, and even use them. And then
use
once
their
we
services.
get exactly, and then
absolutely.
once we get that the trust level there, then we can recommend them.
Yeah.
So then that'll probably increase your referrals if you're active with the inviting.
Absolutely.
And, sponsoring.
Yeah. I think the other thing that I do as well is every Friday afternoon, I set time aside for BNI. So I have it in my diary. It's a recurring meeting, and I'll do something BNI, whether it's inviting people or I'll organise my next one-to-ones for the following week or what have you. So I'll always have that time. And I think that's really important to set aside the time. I wasn't doing it originally, and the week's gone. Before you know it, you're back at your next BNI meeting, and you haven't really done anything to sort of help yourself or your fellow members. So
I've heard people talking about 15 minutes a day, and how it makes all the difference just setting aside that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And which BNI are you in?
Cranbourne Champions.
Cranbourne Champions.
Yeah.
And it's a reasonably new chapter, right?
We've gone through a few different changes. So it was Dandenong, and then we moved over to Cranbourne, and it was a 9:30 time slot, and we moved to a 7 a.m. time slot, and we were a hybrid chapter, which was really different to most other chapters.
Hybrid means...
For every second week we were on Zoom.
Yep.
And then every second face-to-face. So I think there were a lot of changes, some of those before I was part of the chapter, and that I think BNI we know works well when you're meeting face-to-face every week. I know some chapters do quite well at sort of a 9:30 time slot, but for the most part, if you're wanting to attract those trades and things, you really need to be at a 7 a.m. At the latest time slot. So we've just recently sort of made those changes. So I think we're going to be doing really good. We've got some really great people as part of the chapter. I'm actually really proud of what we're achieving down there at Cranbourne, and we've got some really lovely people part of the chapter, which is nice.
Yeah, and also you've got 100 to 200,000 people moving to Cranbourne, or establishing themselves in Cranbourne and surrounding areas like Clyde as well. So
Yes.
there's a lot of businesses coming into this area, so there'll be a lot of competition for the seats.
Yes.
So if you want to get into Cranbourne BNI, it's a good idea to start soon, right?
Yes, absolutely. For sure. The other thing that I do like to do for BNI, like we're talking about tips, one of the other biggest tips that I have done or have given to other members as well is making sure that you're looking just outside your own chapter in terms of go and visit other chapters, have one-to-ones with members in other chapters. If they're doing a new startup chapter, reach out to the area director and say, hey, is there anything I can do to help you get this started? Again, with that givers gain mentality, be in there to what can I do to help this get going for you. I did a presentation recently. I'm a bit of a nerd, so I got a pie chart and I kind of divvied up where all of my leads from within BNI come from.
Yeah.
And actually only 9% of the referrals that I get are from my own chapter. So, and I'm not visiting other chapters often, but it just comes from other areas in terms of, startup chapters that I was involved with in Western Port. We tried to get the Western Port chapter up and running. Yep. COVID happened, and but still business from their old members from other chapters who used to be a part of BNI, still referring. So it's interesting when you really start looking outside of your own chapter. There's just so much within BNI. The speed networking events, the round table things, they're all networking opportunities. So making the most of those and, looking at those a little bit different, I think, as to, I haven't got time for this. I need to make time for this because it's, when you look at it on the pie chart and only 9% of it coming from your chapter, which mind you, if the return on investment on that would be great, I'd still be really happy with that. Yep. But had you not put in all the other time to the other other areas of BNI, their opportunities missed.
And it's opportunities missed, exactly. And it's amazing how uncanny the meetings can be when you go to another chapter. For example, I'll give you one very quick story. I've always wanted to shoot a cinema ad, because I think cinema ads generally can be quite poor. But I went to visit another chapter, and the same day that I visited, someone who actually sells cinema advertising visited on the same day, and then there was a partnership right there, and I was able to shoot a couple of cinema ads, which is great. Perfect. But you never know. I could have, the day before I could have thought, look, I can't be bothered. I don't want to go.
Yeah, right.
But it's what you put in, right? And
yeah. And I remember one of the education pieces we had recently was, it's what opportunity are you going to miss by not being in the room? Like if you're, when you talk about attendance and, the more you're there, it's what are you going to miss by not being in the room or not turning up to that event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I want to get back to flawless figures. I want to finish on flawless figures. So what are your overall goals of flawless figures?
My goal since I started the business was to be able to spend more time with family. Just sort of step back a little bit from the business, let it run itself. It's been 8 years. I still haven't achieved that yet. So, but I'm a little bit my own worst enemy. So, if I have a bit of a lull, I kind of seem to fill it with something else, or and I have a hard time of saying no. If somebody asks me to do something, or can you be the treasurer of this? Yeah, sure. So that is still the goal, and I still would love to achieve that, where I can just step back a little bit more from the business. I've got an amazing team who are doing an incredible job, so I know I really can step back, but it might be a little bit more self-coaching to get me away from the business. What
do you expect that your team to do? You talk about how great they are. What do you expect that's going to happen if you do step away, if you do achieve that goal, and you can step away here and there? What do you expect that they're going to do?
Look, they'll be amazing. They will run the business so well. I have full faith in them. They're an incredible bunch. They're all fully qualified. They are so capable. I think that has been probably my biggest challenge with growing the business, is me letting go. And I'm so conscious of the relationships that I've built, and the one-to-one that I offer. People can call me anytime, and I'm reluctant to turn my phone off or say, this week you'll have to call such and such. So it's a little bit getting over myself, I think, Shad, to make it happen.
Awesome. It sounds like you've got a great business and you love it and you're passionate about what you do. Anything else we need to talk about your business that we haven't really covered yet?
No, look, I think I just, if I was to get one thing across, it would just be, how much I really do care about our clients, and, again, just alleviating the stress for our clients is the most important thing. And anytime I have a new staff member on, that's the first thing that I say. Our job is just to make the lives easier of our clients and make them feel supported. So, so I'm really proud of what I've built, and I'm proud of what the staff are giving to our clients as well.
Awesome. Amazing. Do you have any skills that we don't know about? I know you mentioned you can fly a plane, you can punch someone in the face. Is there anything else skills that's more business related that you have?
Yeah, I think streamlining and automating processes, which was spoken about, I actually think that's a real skill, to adapt to the new technologies and things that are coming about. We often sort of attend road shows and lots of training. We have to keep up our training, 90 hours of CPE hours a year. So, so I think just keeping on top of the ever-changing technology and really utilising that for our business, but also for our clients. I would say that's a skill.
Yeah. So, and then what sort of clients does that mostly benefit?
All of them. So, so every client we've got where there is some automation and streamline. Yep. Absolutely. So in terms of third-party apps, but also things like just uploading their receipts using a data extraction software like HubDoc or Dext, those sorts of things are all streamlining their processes. It means that we're spending less time doing the bookkeeping, which means we can keep our prices a little bit lower as well. But there's also sometimes clients might like to do part of their bookkeeping themselves. So we'll go in, help them streamline it, or sometimes it might be putting these processes in place for them, getting it all set up, and they might like to take the bookkeeping back and manage it themselves. Yeah. But we're able to kind of get a better system for them to operate so that they can then manage it themselves, and we can just check in on them every quarter or something, make sure they're doing okay.
Yeah. And what about people that are nervous about technology? Like if you say, hey, we have all these technological kind of solutions for you, and they're like, oh, that's too much for my brain.
Yeah. Look, we start them off slow. We'll just sort of give them one thing at a time, and just, quite often a good example of that, Shad, is where somebody is used to having a bookkeeper working in their office all day. We're remote bookkeepers. We generally don't go out to site, but it's sometimes when we're taking on a new client, sometimes it might take us to go out on site a few times and just show them, this is how it would work if we were remote. This is what you need to do at your end. This is how much it's going to save you if you do it this way. But generally, if there's someone that's just so close-minded to automating anything, this is the way we do it, this is the only way we do it, well, then we generally would recommend that there might be a better fit for them of a different bookkeeper.
Yeah, they should use someone who's still, trapped in the 90s or something.
Yeah, and there's plenty of them out there, especially bookkeepers. So, old school bookkeepers who are great bookkeepers, but just not up with the times.
Final question. What's some of the feedback that you get from the service that you provide?
Look, I think just friendly would be friendly and supportive would probably be the two things that come to mind. So I think our clients genuinely feel really supported in what they need, and that's which is perfect. That's exactly how I want them to feel.
Amazing. Thank you, Nicky Barr, so much for coming and representing Flawless Figures Bookkeeping and being my very first guest on the One-to-One podcast.
Thanks for inviting me. What an honour to be your first guest. Thank you.
How do you like the studio, by the way?
It's beautiful. I love this couch.
Yeah, it took me 6 months, no exaggeration, to find this couch. So, it's just great to finally be sitting on it and doing the One-to-One podcast.
Yeah, amazing.
But how did you feel, can I ask, before coming into today?
Yeah.
You haven't done a lot of podcasts.
I have not done any. This is my first podcast, and I've got to say I was feeling a little bit nervous. A lot nervous if I was telling the truth.
Yep.
But this has been really comfy. I've loved sitting here and doing this. It just feels so natural, and I would love to have another one-to-one so we could do the gains exchange on you, and I'd love to know more about assertive media. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you've enjoyed the experience so far. And to our viewers of episode number 1, we hope you watch episode number to and beyond. And have a great day. Thanks for listening.
In a world on the brink of cognitive extinction, armed with nothing but microphones, caffeine, and questionable business advice, the cast of The One-to-One rise again. Recorded in the Assertive Media Video Podcast Studio, deep in Melbourne's southeast. Yes, it's for hire. This is The One-to-One Podcast, saving humanity, one slightly awkward handshake at a time.